As I've mentioned, today SABC News is focusing on the issue of service delivery and particularly the aspect of housing. A significant number of South Africans live in informal settlements. What will it take to change this? How long will it change, or rather will it take to change it? To discuss this, we're joined by Thapelo Mohapi, the National Spokesperson of Abahlali, baseMjondolo Movement South Africa. Thapelo, a very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, for the benefit of our viewers who might not necessarily, be privy to the mandate of Abahlali, baseMjondolo, what exactly do you do?
Good morning, Sipiwe. Good morning to the viewers. Abahlali baseMjondolo is a grassroots mass organization. We have about more than 100,000 members. We organize in 5 provinces in South Africa. Ours is to ensure that the dignity of the poor and marginalized, those who are living in shacks and those who are living in the rural areas, that their dignities are recognized, that they have decent housing, that they have access to land, that they are respected, and that they are given the dignity just as the middle class and the elites are recognized in this country.
Make me understand, Thapelo, how do you ensure the dignity of those people who are living in shacks? Do you provide a medium for the provision of houses? I mean, do you link those people to government authorities in terms of providing decent housing?
Ours is to ensure that we hold government to account.
Okay.
That houses, budgets that are provided for housing go to those people that are in need, those who are living in informal settlements in particular, those that are vulnerable, particularly the women, the children who do not have access to services. We have women who are killed on their way to relieve themselves. We have young people who fall on the pit toilet. So ours is to ensure that if you don't have a home or a roof over your head, your dignity in this country is not recognized. So we are saying, therefore, ours is to bring government to the fore and say, government, this is your responsibility in terms of the constitution. And of course, we have prevented a number of evictions that have been taking place both in Johannesburg and in Durban, where people have been evicted with impunity at some point at gunpoint with the anti-land invasion units and the law enforcement and the red ants in Johannesburg. So we are saying that the dignity of the poor in this country has not been recognized, and therefore ours is to ensure that we fight against any form that is meant to depress or oppress those who are living in shacks in the country.
You know, Thapelo, it is everyone's guess how prevalent the problem of indecent housing and informal housing is in South Africa. So what would it take to change the current status quo? Is it the government? Because some people have lost all hope in the government in terms of providing proper housing.
Yes. Yes, of course, the government has failed to actually address the issue of housing in this country. And one of their failure is that the government sees the people of South Africa to be the passive recipients of this housing. We believe that people must be part of their own development, that there must be continuous engagement with the people, and that housing should not be enforced or imposed on the people. So what we have seen in this country is government responding, hiring even architects, people who are living in Sandton, in Bramley, and others who are living in suburb, to discuss issues that are faced by people who live in informal settlement. We are saying that the people in the informal settlement understand the situation that they live in, and they understand how to get out of that situation. So we are saying that the people must be the stewards of their own development, and they must be part of their own development. And you should not hire people to think and finish on their behalf. And that is the problem in this country, that there are people who are making decisions who do not live in informal settlement, who don't understand issues that are happening in informal settlements, and they result into what is called the greenfield projects, where people are now relocated into other areas, whereas we know very well that informal settlements exist in the hub, where there are economic opportunities, where there are schools and universities where the people can access those. And when you remove the person 50 kilometers away from that, you are actually robbing that person of accessing that, and those people are bound to return back to informal settlements. So we are saying that there must be continuous, meaningful engagement with the people on the ground in order to address this issue. Because if you are thinking and finishing on their behalf, you are not actually addressing this issue.
Thapelo, I suppose we shouldn't turn a blind eye to the rogue elements in each and every movement or in each and every project because, I've been reliably told that there are those people who've been fortunate enough to get free housing from government and then they start renting out or even selling those houses, going back to shacks. So how do you deal with that as Abahlali baseMjondolo?
So this is what you do, Simbiwe. You develop the reason why I left Matatiele to come to Durban and live where I live was as a result of me wanting to access the opportunities that are there. So if you're giving me a house a few kilometers away from where I live without engaging with me, of course, you are not solving the problem. What government should do is provide housing where people are, develop people where they are. The reason why there's corruption and the allocation of housing fails is because people are not part of the development to develop themselves. When you build a house elsewhere, and I still reside in these shacks, the people who are responsible for that project can sell that shack to somebody else who has access. And right now we are speaking about the Konopia development. Half of the people who are living there are not the beneficiaries of those households. We have civil servants who are living there. That is a result of the corruption, which is another step that we need to move to. That if we want to address the issue of housing in this country, we must ensure that we deal with the corrupt element of it, whether it's the selling of housing by officials and or allocating housing to the wrong people, to their nearest families and so forth. So people actually are moving to the shacks because there's a reason why somebody would live in Kennedy Road, because Kennedy Road is next to the factories where people can find jobs easily. But if you are taking me to a greenfield project where there is no development, there are no companies, nothing else, I would then have no means to survive in that area, then I'll go back to the area where I was. So we are saying that there must be in-suit upgrading, that people must be developed where they live currently, which is why we are encouraging that there should be the upgrading of informal settlements right now with the aim that people are going to live in the areas where they are. So services should be provided in the informal settlements such as electricity, water. People must have all these access where they live, and there should be constant engagement with the people with regards to development. But the development must take place in the places where people are residing at the moment, rather than relocating them to other areas.
So basically, you're advocating for the allocation of houses that is, in proximity with economic activity.
Yes, exactly. People need access to transport. If you look at the structure of informal settlement anywhere else, they will be next to a railway line. They will be next to an industrial park. They will be next to a transport facility, so that people can access these. So the very reason why people move into the rural areas, into the urban areas, is for them to access economic opportunities. So when you relocate them and move move them away from the economic hubs, people are bound to come back and live the life that they are living. So you are not addressing the issue, because you are only addressing the issue of housing, because you are seeing this person as a recipient of a passive recipient of this housing, and therefore you decide on their behalf and you don't engage them. If government was engaging with movement like Abahlali baseMjondolo on a particular basis, they would understand that relocating people to other places is the reason why people leave those places. And those who are working as civil servants and those who are getting paid well are now the ones who buy these houses because they can access transport easily. So the housing should not be seen. A house should not be seen as a roof over your head. It must be seen as something that is going to alleviate poverty for people. It must be seen as something that is going to bring skills within the community. And therefore, you cannot take it far away from where people are, because you are not providing the other things that are required within the house that is being built or the development that is being taking place in that area.
So, Thapelo, what's the level of communication between Abahlali baseMjondolo and the government, in particular the Department of Human Settlements? I mean, how do you guys operate? Do you have your own list of those who require housing and then maybe juxtapose that list with the one that government has? I mean, is there two lists, or you simply work on one list and then you push your people, your members to be, to be given priority on that particular list?
Look, the issue here is that we sometimes are seen, particularly in KwaZulu-Natal, as the enemy of the government, particularly in eThekwini municipality. To date, we have lost 18 leaders in our Abahlali baseMjondolo who were uncovering the corruption that is taking place by councillors who were selling houses to other people. So the relationship with the local authorities in Durban is not that well. And we wish to actually say this, that we have the experience. I mean, we have comrades from other areas like Brazil and other countries where we have seen how the issue of housing has been dealt with. So we are calling on government to work with us and not see us as enemies. But we will not keep quiet whenever there's corruption. We will also always uncover corruption that is taking place, and we're going to mention names of people who are selling houses that are meant for the poorest of the poor. And therefore, the reason why there is tensions between Abahlali baseMjondolo at current moment in eThekwini municipality in particular is because we speak truth to power. We've never said that the corruption is there and there. We mentioned the people that are there. As I speak to you, 2 ward councillors in 2016 were arrested for killing one of our own who were uncovering the selling of houses in Ward 12. So these are some of the things that we won't compromise. Whenever there's corruption, we'll mention it and we'll put it out there, and it must be clear who is behind that corruption. And that's why we don't have that good relationship with the government. But we are calling on government to say we have the know-how to deal with the crisis of housing in South Africa, but that must be inclusive with the people on the ground who will be the recipients of these houses.
All right, Thapelo, great chatting to you, man. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thapelo Mohapi there is the National Spokesperson of Abahlali baseMjondolo movement in South Africa, just giving us a general overview of the housing challenges that is faced by millions of South Africans.